I have been stuck in the same loop of self improvement for the last 4 years. And to give you guys some context, for the most of my life, from preschool to high school, I was a loser. I was a very shy and nervous kid who always tried to impress other people in order to feel more secure about myself. When I was in preschool, everything was just fine. And, I was still talking and socializing like normal. But I got introduced to the iPad and I started to get addicted to it. I played video games every day, every single time I got home from school. I'll be spending my time on fucking Clash of Clans, bro. I'll build bases, I would fight enemies, and I would just get addicted to the process. But I didn't realize that it would hurt me for my future, man. When I got into like secondary school, I have to leave all my old friends in order to move back closer to my home. And since that point, man, I've been really struggling with socializing and meeting new people. Right? I mean, I do have a few friends, but for like a few days when we first met, we'll be cool, we'll be chilling, and we'll be just normal, right? But months and years pass by. They seems like they're trying to push me away for some reason. Probably because back then I don't really have the social skill to be talking and make friends with everyone, right? Because I was spending all of my time in video games and I didn't get the chance to spend my childhood into, practicing my ability to just talk like a normal human being. So when I interact with people when I was in secondary school, I will be stuttering and I was just cannot make up words to express what I feel with them. Right? It's like I cannot vibe with the other person. Like if you understand that, then yeah. Um, and things got really bad, right? And it like when I was in preschool, you know, up until like primary school, I was still playing video games and, but I didn't even feel like the pressure to talk to anyone and I didn't really feel that lonely. But when I got into secondary school and especially when puberty hits, I started to crave more validation from other people and I really get addicted to the feeling of anyone that noticed my effort and my my everything, right? I wanted people to recognize me, right? And I would try to impress them. I would try to talk to them whenever I can, but I seem a bit too pushy for them, I think. And that's probably the reason why no one really tried to reciprocate me. And I've been spending those years wondering why people don't like me. And when I got into high school, the things were the same, or maybe even worse, because they people nowadays they got higher standards than the secondary school kids. So it's a bit harder for me to make friends. I mean, I still have like one or two gamer friends, but we're not really that close. And I still feel the same feeling when I was in secondary school and when I was in like primary school. But one day when I was in my room playing video games and I opened YouTube, I scrolled just a little bit and there's this one videos about self improvement, and I think it's basically say that take control of your life. And this is when the self improvement trend started to appear, right? Everyone was just making this video to impress teenagers who are in a very desperate situation like me. But at the time I did not realize that. So I thought that this might be a way to fix everything. It might change my life. I'll get way more attention to from my friends that I've been wanting them to. So I basically started going to the gym. I basically started to eat more healthy and read books, doing journals. And I've done all of this not because I wanted to get better and improve my health and my mental health, but it's because I wanted people to, or at least I thought that it will make people more attracted to me, right? And I built a pretty good physique. I eat more healthy, and my body starts to improve. And but those things were not really on my mind. The only thing that were on my mind at the time was to notice that, oh, will the bigger bicep get me more girls, or a bigger back will make me feels like a bro amongst the other bros, right? That's basically my thought process during those time. And I really cannot get enough of it, right? Maybe some people, they say that you go to the gym now, you look a bit more jacked, and I feel pretty happy. But I start to crave it even more and more, and start to chase it. And by the time I finished high school, I'm still doing self improvement, but like, even when I was, doing really good, there will be days where I will relapse. I will jerk off when I'm on the no fap streak, where I would quit the gym and eating junk food for the whole week. And after those time, I would be really pissed off to myself, and I was start to cursing myself, like, what the fuck did you do this? Why the fuck did you do that? And you know, it started to get into my head so much. People start to look at me like even more with even way more different eye than they used to. Like, I'm in this haze where it's not like either bad, it's not either good, but it's like in a dilemma where I'm trying to improving myself, but I didn't get the same results as I expected. And sometimes I'm just wondering, is this, am I doing something wrong, or do I have to try even harder? And is there like even a point to do self improvement? Maybe I was wrong at the start, right? And when I remember, like 2 or 3 years ago, when I was, when I was sent to go to another country, I was had to start all over again with different culture, different mannerism, and I have to adapt to the life in here. And I have to end up socializing with more people. And you know that's the thing that I have not been really trying for the last, no, it's like, I haven't tried that when I was in my home countries. And when I came here, I have to socialize a lot in order to build up a network here, and be able to have someone to talk to when I'm getting a bit lonely, right? And I've started to feel a bit more confidence. I mean, just a little bit. And when I feel a bit more confidence and a bit more content, I stopped going to the gym. I stopped eating healthy, and I would be, you know, jerking off. I would be eating fast food and watching YouTube and Instagram every day. But I don't feel the same guilt as before, because now I got what I want, you know. But I realized that this is just all temporary. This is just all in my mind. I never did the thing that I was doing because I love them, but it's because I wanted others to validate me. And I take a deep breath and I try the second time, right? I start to go to the gym again. I start to eating healthy again. But this time, I don't do that for to impress other people anymore. And I do that because I really think that if I don't get a good health, I cannot enjoy anything for in the future, man. I would get cancer and I would die before I got to, you know, talk to my family again, and having fun times with my friends and even my little brother and my family. Like, yeah. And I really think that people do not give a freak about what I'm doing. And I think that is really true because you know I just want to live a normal life like everyone else does, but I was thinking way too extreme. I was thinking I don't have the same thinking cycle or pattern as a normal person would do, right? I I wanted to impress people, but when I look around me, people are just living their lives. They don't try to impress or they don't try hard or seems desperate to, get others people attention. And I realized that it's okay to just be normal. It's okay to just, live your life. Like what if they care about me? Like I don't even get anything. Or vice versa. If they don't care about me, like I'm still fine. I'm still here. Why do I have to worry so much? And you know, I kind of feel a bit better to be honest. I get to do what I want now. I want to, get some peace and quiet by just walking or, reading some books that I like or eating healthy, but eating the food that I like. And, when I was exercising, I don't do the exercise that targets the muscle that, I think that people would notice. I just do what I feel good. I just do the exercise where, I feel comfortable with. And I learned that people, they don't really care much about what I do. And if I wanted to be friends with them or making them you know be friends with me, I just go out there, just talk to people, just be a normal human being, bro. Don't live in your head too much. And I have certainly lived way more in my head than I live in real life, and I regret it so much, to be honest. And yeah, I've done renting, and for the last few days I don't upload as much as I used to because I have school, and I feel a bit burned out because I make way too much videos. And I feel like this is a thing that I used to do occasionally, to just vent and just really talk about the things that I wanted to do. And I wanted to find that spark again. I wanted to find that the passion that I've lost along the way. Or maybe I'm just lazy. Yeah. Have a good day, guys.